Hey guys, what's going on? Carter here. Well, I think I've got a sufficient amount of information on this knife that I can do kind of at least a first impression of it. Had it for a couple days, carried it around, been playing with it non-stop. This is a badass little blade, guys. It really is. I don't have any specs in front of me, they'll be down below, but it has like I think 3¼ inch blade, just under 8 inches overall, somewhere around there. So not a huge knife in terms of length, but it is pretty wide this way. The handle thickness is about standard, what you'd expect. Blade thickness, not too thick, not too thin. You got a nice stout tip on there. Recurved blade, very nice for cutting. Flat ground right here. It is just an outstanding knife. I wanted to say little knife, but I guess it's not really little, but it's a little smaller than what I usually go for. I was a little concerned that it would be a tad bit too small, but as you can see, the two main grips that you would use on this knife is kind of further back and kind of a little bit of a pistol grip right here. Got some nice jimping for the thumb and things like that. But then you can also, I mean, not really choke up, but you can move up on the blade, and you've got this nice dip right up here that you can put your thumb on to just kind of get a little bit more torque, I guess you would say, kind of a little bit more precise action on this front end right here, which would be very, very useful for a lot of cutting tasks. So definitely a very utilitarian type design here that would lend itself excellently for EDC. S30V blade. This particular version is black coated with the DLC black coating. Outstanding coating, extremely tough. It's got that nice matte finish to it. It looks great, holds up great, just excellent. All the usual stampings here. You can see this is serial number 13,682. So definitely a well-produced knife, and there's a reason for that because it is an excellent design. You can also get this in their kind of camo striped Strider-esque blade and a stonewash blade, and then there was that limited edition composite blade with the ZDP 189, I believe it was, on the cutting edge there. Thick stainless steel liners. Lockup is about 50%. For stainless steel liners, perfect. If they were titanium liners, I would probably say I'd want it a little earlier, but being that they are stainless steel, they're not going to wear like titanium, so ideally you want it out the box at the most secure location, which is right where it's at. Speaking of lockup, I mean, just rock solid. I mean, no budge whatsoever. This is a very stout blade. Let's see if we can take a look at the lock geometry. Not sure if we're going to get a little focus action here, but rest assured, the angle that the lock face is cut at is perfect. I mean, just absolutely perfect. There is nice slight angle. If you can kind of see there, just a very, very slight angle on that lock face. Absolutely perfect. So this is definitely not going to be slipping out of place. My last video I showed how I took the speed assist out of there. I really enjoy not having that speed assist. I do not like it. I don't think it's necessary. As you can see, you can make this thing just rock it out as quick as you want. And then you can also slowly open it if you want. You know, you have that ability. So I really like that you can remove that speed assist because I don't like it. Carry options, tip up, tip down, left hand, right hand carry, so definitely no complaints there. You know, it's not super deep carry, you can see quite a bit sticks out, but it's nothing too concerning. G10 scales on here, nice thick G10 scales, and you can see with how thick these liners are, how it has to have this cutout here, this relief, in order to allow it to flex. So yeah, very nice. Reverse grip is very comfortable as well. You've got some nice jimping up here. Not that many people use this grip, but it's nice to know it's there in case you ever did, and it is super comfortable. Super comfortable. Backspacer, semi-closed construction, Fit and finish on this is just excellent. Everything is nice and smooth and flush and fits, and no machining marks. Just an outstanding, outstanding job. In my takedown video, you can see how the construction works. These screws actually go all the way through to the other side, and then they screw into these female parts right here. So definitely a solid type of construction on here. It's not going to be falling apart on you. Nice thick pivot right there. You also have the benefit of these thumb studs acting as a blade stop. So you have a huge diameter right here that is impacting these contoured dual steel liners. I've mentioned this before. One of the things that greatly increases settle-in period of your lock bar isn't so much as wear going on in your lock bar, it's your, whether it's a stop pin or thumb studs, kind of settling into what they hit. Because the farther back your blade seats when opened, the further your lock bar is going to travel in. So having it, that stout like that, you're not going to get any initial movement on that lock bar. And this hasn't budged at all. I've been flipping this thing open for 2 days, and nothing has moved. Everything is just as solid as when it came out. Just an outstanding blade. Price on this is, I paid $115 shipped, brand new. So you definitely can't beat that. Very excellently priced. S30V blade. Just an outstanding, outstanding blade. This is definitely going on my recommended list. That pretty much gets my initial impressions out of the way. Let's talk about some things that I don't love about this knife. I mentioned it before, the recurve. And the reason why I don't like recurves isn't so much that I don't like the way they look or the way they perform. I think they perform great, especially in a setup like this. If you're doing like a draw cut, the basic idea with the recurve is that you will actually cut into whatever you're cutting with just pulling back. It just makes, this belly right here just slices right in. But then when you choke up like here, you just have kind of, this blade right here, and you kind of take the recurve out of the equation. And, it looks nice. Ken Onion Design, he does a lot with recurves. My only problem is just the sharpening. You can't use, I like to use a, I use the clamp system of sharpening. And that includes anything from the Edge Pro to the Wicked Edge to the Lansky to whatever. It's all the same, and you can't use that on here. You have to use rods in order to sharpen this. Or you could also freehand off maybe a corner of a stone or something, but you can't just run it flat on a stone. It won't work with that recurve. So you'd have to use something like a sharp maker or something along those lines in order to properly sharpen this. And I don't use the sharp maker enough to do a good sharpening job. I'll use it occasionally just to get a micro bevel or to kind of clean up the edge or something. But as far as a heavy duty sharpening, I'm just not skilled enough at it to feel comfortable with it. So if I ever do need to do a reprofile or a heavy duty sharpening on this, I'm not sure what I'd do. I have to figure something out. That does remind me though, an idea that I've had for those clamp systems. And I'm surprised they haven't done it. The only problem with those is the fact that the sharpening stones that you're using are flat, right? They're flat. So I don't see why like Wicked Edge hasn't came out with basically a rod embedded into a flat surface, if that makes sense. So you'd still have the same device that would go onto the rods, but it would actually have a ceramic rod instead of a flat stone. So that way you could actually use that same system and sharpen it. I'm surprised they haven't came up with something like that, because that would just, that would solve all those problems. You could use your existing system and just use kind of a rod insert instead of your flat stones on there. So maybe there is something like that out there. I've never seen it. Wicked Edge, if you're watching this, please come out with something like that. I think that would be a big hit. The next thing is the weight. Isn't a problem for me. This is a stout, heavy little knife. Being that it is not particularly huge, it's not a big deal, but I know some people have complained about the weight, and that's just due to the double thick steel liners that are not skeletonized at all. If they were skeletonized, that would completely go away. Like I said, that's not a problem for me, but if it is for you, if you're weight sensitive, keep that in mind. This is a heavy little knife, but all in all, I love this thing. Excellent blade. It's right up there with the Paramilitary 2 as far as my recommended blades. Alright guys, take it easy. I'm out.